they don't pay what something's worth.
No.
They gotta get it so they make money.
Sure.
But anyway, he said, I don't want to sell it. I just want to get it on there so everybody know I got it. So that's why we did that show, and I had a big time out there with those guys.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's talk about the WS Holland band. Tell us who all's in the band.
Well, that's another kind of fluke thing that happened. Like I was going to retire in 1960. I didn't. Then in 97, when John didn't feel like working anymore, I was going to retire again. I thought, well, I still play pretty good and good as I ever could, and so I'm going to play around here with some of the guys if they'll let me. And I met Ron Haney. I didn't know about Ron till then, and he had been playing in a band since he was a kid, and a friend that he played with for so many years, Jimmy Reese, who played bass, and a piano player that they'd worked with all their life, and Alan Wheeler, and they played together for, back I don't know how long ago. And Ron said, hey, you don't need to retire. Let's get the guys together and get a band, go and play some things. And I said, well, what do we call the band? And he said, we call it the WS Holland Band. And I said, you mean to tell me 3 guys that as good as you guys are would be willing to be in a band called the WS Holland Band? They said we would love it. So that's what we're doing.
Man, that is wonderful. There's a brand new project live in Memphis. I want to play one of these tracks, Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. Carl Perkins. In fact, the Beatles also covered this one. Any memories of that one, the original version, and then we'll play this live version?
Well, several of the things I remember the original version, even the big one, Blue Suede Shoes.
Yeah.
If you listen to Blue Suede Shoes, the intro, 1 for the money and a break there, and then 2 for the show.
Yeah.
And then go. See, that's not the correct way. And because I and we didn't know how to count real good, that's the way we did it. And I kid about it now. I said, somebody said, why'd you leave those spaces? Like 1 for the money? Somebody might want to go get a hot dog and then come back 2 for the show. So that was unusual.
Yeah.
Then there's another song that I played through the stop, and when we got through, we listened back. I said, that sounds good. That's different. Let's leave it that way. So he did. So, yeah, there's so many memories about back then that it's amazing. And one of the most amazing things about it, though, is why it all worked so good. And it was so different, and it was one of the things that made it all happen. And when I'm playing on the stage now, the way we're doing now, I can't keep from thinking about those days back in the studio.
Yeah.
Well, they took some honey from a tree, dressed it up and they called it me. Well, everybody's trying to be my baby. Everybody's trying to be my baby. Everybody's trying to be my baby now. I woke up last night about 4:30. 14 women knocking on my door. Well, everybody's trying to be my baby. Everybody's trying to be my baby. Everybody's trying to be my baby now. How about it, kid? Before I got home, I had 19 days. Well, everybody's trying to be my baby. Everybody's trying to be my baby. Everybody's trying to be my baby now. Hey. Honey from a tree, dressed it up and they called it me. Well, everybody's trying to be my baby. Everybody's trying to be my baby. Everybody's trying to be my baby now. I said everybody's trying to be my baby now. Thank y'all for coming out tonight, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Mr. W.S. Holland.
Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby from the WS Holland Band. It's from their latest release, live in Memphis. W.S. Holland is our guest once again this week. Want to play another track from this as well. You cover Ragged Old Flag, and I had Bill Miller from the Johnny Cash Museum on the show. We talked about how there probably isn't another artist ever like Johnny Cash that could take a song like Ragged Old Flag, play it all over the world, and get a standing ovation for it. That's pretty cool. And you do a version of this on this new record.
You know, I am so proud of that because there's something about that song. Now, John wrote that in 1974. And we performed it at the Bicentennial and then did it on nearly every show we ever did. And now we do it on every show we do. And there's always, no matter where you are, there's somebody in the audience that had a family member or their set was in the service or something. And like you say, every time we do it now, we get a standing ovation on it, and it makes me feel so good. But it's something that relates to almost everybody.
Yeah.
There's some lines of that song, and it's almost like he wrote it last week or something. And it's so real to what's happening now. But, yeah, we really have it. We enjoy doing it.
I walked through a county courthouse square. On the park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your old courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "No, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your flagpole's kind of leaning a little bit. That's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Sit down. Have a seat." I sat down. He says, "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "Yeah, I think it is." He said, "Well, I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, it got that tear there when Washington took it across the Delaware. He got powder burn the night Francis Scott Key said watching it, writing, 'Oh, say, can you see?' It almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on, though. She got cut with a sword in Chancellorsville. She got cut again, Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee and Beauregard and Bragg. And the south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. In Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp, low, the time that one was through. She was in Korea, Vietnam. She went where she was sent by our Uncle Sam. She waved from our ships on the briny foam. And now they backward waving her here at home. Here in her own good land, she's been abused, she's been burned, denied, dishonored, and refused. And the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. Now she's getting threadbare, wearing kind of thin, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in. Now she's been through the fire before, and I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning. We take her down slow every night. We don't let her touch the ground. We fold her upright. So on second thought, I do like to brag, 'cause I am mighty proud of that ragged old flag. Thank y'all so much.
Man, I want to play one more track, $1 Million Memories, which is recounting the time in the studio there, what we talked about earlier, what became known as the $1 Million Quartet.
That $1 Million Memories is amazing. Now that I wished I had been able to write some songs or something, but I never was able to write any kind of a song. Ron Haney, just by me telling him the story of what happened, he come out here one day and said, "Look here, what I've got." I wrote this, and he played it, and I couldn't believe that he put all that together, and it's just exactly what happened that night.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to whip him a little bit because he did such a good job on that, and I wanted to write it.
Yeah, there you go. Man, I tell you what, thank you so much for the time. This has been wonderful.
Hey, thanks a lot, and thanks for being my friend.
It was a cold Memphis December back in 1956 at Sun Records on Union Avenue, 706. I was drumming for Carl Perkins. The whole band was in town to record a song called Matchbox and lay all the tracks down. Sam Phillips hired Jerry Lee Lewis to spice up the record that day. But before we could get things rolling, the session went a different way. Johnny Cash heard we were in town. He dropped by to say hello. And the next thing we knew, Elvis Presley walked through the door.
It all just seemed to happen. It was just as strange to me. Now it's all become a part of rock and roll history.
I've played this whole world over, seen almost all there is to see. But I wouldn't take $1 million for my $1 million memories. Just like what happens with most musicians, a jam session broke out that day. The boys sang songs from their childhoods of hard work, love, and faith. History calls that jam session the most famous one of all, because the world was changed by the music of John and Elvis, Jerry Lee and Carl. Now late at night at Sun Records, if you peek in through the glass, you might just hear the music of sessions from the past. Some even say if you listen closely, you can almost bet you can hear the familiar voices of the $1 Million Quartet.
It all just seemed to happen. It was just as strange to me. Now it's all become a part of rock and roll history.
I've played this whole world over, seen almost all there is to see. But I wouldn't take $1 million for my $1 million memories.
$1 million memories.
It's the Nashville Boogie.
It's the Nashville Boogie, boogie all night long.
Nashville's new hillbilly bop and western swing and rockabilly weekender and car show at the massive Opryland Hotel Resort in Nashville, Tennessee. May 1st and 2nd, 2015. Hotel reservations and weekend passes available now. Car registration soon. For more information, go to NashvilleBoogie.com or find us on Facebook. It's the Nashville Boogie. This is Jam and James Riley. We just heard the WS Holland Band with $1 Million Memories. We're going to